Hi, welcome back to Gun&ShotTV. This is Chris, and today we'll be talking about the Glock 20 and 10mm. 10mm is one of those kind of oddball calibers. It's starting to pick up some steam. I know Ruger just came out with a 1911 in it. There's the Colt Delta Elite. There's the Smith, I think like 1076 or something. There's obviously the Glock 20. There's the Bren 10. 10mm originally was like a Wildcat round. In the 80s, I think it was like early 80s, late 70s, Norma kind of partnered with Dornius and Dixon, and the Bren 10 came out, and they made this hot cartridge. Essentially, it's a 40 caliber size projectile, and the Bren 10 was huge in the 80s, but the company never really actually made them any. Like, they were on Miami Vice. Don Johnson carried one, and they got a lot of press from that, but they had like magazine feed problems, and so it was like a magazine recall, and there was production issues. There's all kinds of issues with the Bren 10s, and they were kind of fragile. Essentially, it was like Jeff Cooper kind of picked the CZ75 design, and they scaled it up, and you know, so it was tied into Jeff Cooper, and it was a neat gun, but 10mm is a hot cartridge, so it tends to beat up traditional design guns like 1911 guns, the Bren 10, the Delta Elite, stuff like that. So, you know, the 10 was popular for a little bit. The FBI decided to issue it as a service weapon, but there was a lot of issues with the agents not being able to really shoot it well, and the actual Smith&Wesson guns they issued were huge. So there was problems with being able to qualify because the recoil, and then the grips were so large that people with smaller hands, agents with smaller hands, couldn't comfortably hold the gun. So they went away from it. They came up with like a downloaded 10mm cartridge that they were issuing, and then they actually kind of took that downloaded cartridge and realized it could fit in a smaller actual case, and that's how the 40 got designed. So essentially, 40 caliber Smith&Wesson is just kind of like, it's like the 357 versus 38 special. It's 10mm is like the Magnum round, and 40 is like the special round. So, you know, it's kind of a niche round. It's somewhere power-wise between 357 mag. It's like really loaded hot. It can be a tiny bit more power factor than 357 mag, but they're probably about comparable. And it's a little bit less than 41 mag. It's not a contender to like 44 mag or 500 Smith&Wesson. You know, some people say they're the same, or you know, it's just powerful. It's not quite there, but you can get 15 rounds in an auto pistol like this. That's a lot of firepower. I know that, I think it's like Norway or Sweden, one of those countries issues Glock 20s in 10 as backup for the like Polar Police Force or whatever they call it, and that's if they get away from their rifle and they need to dispatch a polar bear. That's their backup. So, and I can see where, you know, Glocks are reliable, they work well, and having 15 rounds of 10mm, 16 if you carry with one in the chamber, is, you know, pretty decent. Now for bear, you know, a lot of people use this as a bear round. It is really good. You can get commercial stuff that's loaded really hot from, I think it's like Double Tap and Buffalo Bore and stuff like that. Most of the commercial 10mm you get off the shelf it's kind of weak. It's like weak 40 power levels, and it's expensive. It's about 30 to 40 bucks a box. Now, I got the gun as a package deal on Gun Broker because it was $500 buy it now shipped, and I always thought a Glock 20 would be really neat. I have some Glock 19s, but I don't really collect Glocks. They're all really the same. But I saw this thing for 500 bucks. It had a Jpoint red dot sight on it. It had a grip wrap that I took off. It also came with a 10mm extended ported barrel from Lone Wolf and a 40 conversion barrel. Now, some people will shoot 40 in the stock Glock chamber. It's not really that safe because you're relying on the extractor to headspace the round. I don't know. You know, you can probably get away with it for a while, but if the round skips past the extractor, now you got a round that's just floating in the chamber. I personally wouldn't trust it. The conversion barrels are really easy. You can just put 40 rounds in the regular 10mm magazines. They'll feed and work fine. Like I said, recommend a conversion barrel though. But it was a whole package. It came with 2 mags, one 10 round, one 15 round mag. I got a couple extra mags. I went with the Glock Sport Combat holster, whatever it is, mainly because I didn't actually intend to carry this gun that much, other than, you know, if I'm hiking or somewhere where there's bears, like we were down in Tennessee, and I could carry, so I figured I would, and I figured I'd carry a 10mm, because why not? Not that I really planned on shooting anything. But these are like $10, and it's funny because the large frame holster will actually kind of hold the small frame guns too. So for $10, you could pretty much fit any Glock in this large frame holster, and it's actually a decent holster for just, you know, not concealed carry, but just, you know, open carry or just messing around. I also, because I was working on a Glock set, I got one of these Glock combat knives, whatever. A lot of people don't necessarily know Glock originally started out making shovels and knives and stuff for the Austrian military. So this is their combat knife. They're like $30-40 online. It's a really neat knife. Anyways, that's just me rambling. But I've got this gun. Like I said, the ammo is very expensive, so I did buy the stuff to cast my own bullets. Using a Glock, you got to worry about the bullets. You can't shoot plain lead, so you have to have jacketed bullets. Well, I want to save money, so I looked into powder coating, and I got the stuff to cast my own bullets, to powder coat them, and dyes, and I did have to buy one of those bulge busters. Not so much every time, especially if you're using the aftermarket barrels like this Lone Wolf one. The brass doesn't stretch that much, but if you shoot, you know, a hot round in the loose Glock chamber, it kind of bulges out because there's not a bunch of support down where the feed ramp is. So I got the Lee bulge buster and the dies and all that stuff. The cool thing is now I can reload 10mm for, it's like $5 a box, so it's pretty cheap. Obviously the brass is expensive and stuff. I did buy a bunch of cases from oncefiredbrass.com, and they've been decent cases. They were almost all Starline. I think I paid like $10 per 100 cases, so that was a good deal. But anyways, I've been really impressed with the gun. It shoots really well. It's a lot of fun to shoot. It's a little weird with the ported extended barrel because the ports push the gun down, so unless you kind of like squeeze it really hard, it tends to shoot low for me with the stock sights. Obviously, if I had the red dot on it, I could just adjust the red dot, but I'm not a huge red dot guy. I've got some astigmatism issues with my eyes, so red dots to me just look like a sun flare or lens flare, so I'm not a huge fan of them. But anyways, at one point I'll throw that red dot on and I'll make a video with it. But I figured I'd just do a video shooting this Glock. I'll shoot some 10mm, and I will shoot some 40 out of it, and I'll show you how those shoot. But kind of a neat gun. Like I said, it's more of a reloaded caliber. If you're getting into it and you're not well heeled, you don't have a bunch of money, look into reloading. I mean, yeah, it's extra work, but in this case, from $40 a box to $4 or $5 a box, whatever it ends up being, I don't have the exact number in front of me, but it's substantial savings. So, you know, it's one of those guns that if you get into it, you probably want to look into reloading at the same time. Here we've got our stock Glock barrel with some 10mm reloads. The only problem I have with the stock barrel is it's not rifled. So, you know, shooting plain lead that's not super hard cast can cause issues, and Glock doesn't recommend it. But it also has a bigger chamber, so it tends to stretch out the brass a bit more. It's not a huge deal. You can run it through the full-size Glock bulge, or the Lee bulge buster thing, but if you reload, you know, you probably want to limit that stretching as much as possible, so it's something to be aware of. So one issue I do have with the Lone Wolf, the 10mm one that's extended and ported, when I got it, it had absolutely no like relief around the sides of the chamber where the feed ramp comes up. So it didn't feed worth a damn. So I found, I guess depending on when you ordered it and how old it was and stuff, they made some that had pretty bad profiles for feeding. So I used a Dremel and I just kind of slowly took a little bit off on the sides and kind of relieved it a little. Not enough so it doesn't have any more support than it had, but just to help it feed. So it's a little bit better. It still is a little bit picky. If you guys watch that KCI extended mag video, I was actually running 10mm through a 45 caliber mag. So check that out and you'll kind of see what it does sometimes. But that's one issue that you may have. As you see, the Glock 1 and the 41 have a lot more relief than the 10. But I don't want to cut too much away because I am shooting hot 10mm in it. So I've got my 40 caliber conversion in, and these are some really light hand loads that I made up. So it's fun because in this big of a gun with this heavy of a slide, it feels like shooting like a hot 22 or something. Like it has almost no recoil. You more feel the slide slam forward than slam back, but it does run really well. But you'll see the brass kind of just falls right to my right here. So I hope you like this look at the Glock 20 and 10mm. It's a really neat gun. You know, the big frame and the polymer and everything, really tame, hot 10mm loads. And, you know, it's a fun gun to shoot. Like I said, the big issue is cost. So, you know, if you don't reload, you might look into just getting a hand press or something like that, because you save so much money if you shoot a lot. If money's no object and you just want to buy one for hiking or whatever, and you're just going to carry it with, you know, a couple boxes of double tap or buffalo bore or something, I mean, that's perfectly legit. But if you want to shoot it a lot, reloading is a super great way to save money on that. But for Gun&ShotTV, this is Chris. If you liked the video, click thumbs up. If you didn't, click thumbs down. If you got any questions or anything, leave me a comment and I'll try and respond to you when I get a chance. And if you want to see more videos like this, click subscribe. If you want to support the channel, check out our Patreon. I'll link it in the description. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.